All right, we will go ahead and get started. So again, I just want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining. This is the official launch party for the 2025 Columbus City Center Interior Design Awards. So we are excited to be officially kicking this off. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bonnie Renicky. I am on one of the event chair positions for the Columbus City Center. And with me partnering, kind of leading this effort on planning is Rain Deering. So we will be together kind of presenting the launch party and introducing our jurors. So if you, before we kind of dive into everything, I am going to kick it over to Hunter and Tyler, our director and co-director, for some quick chapter and city center updates.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tyler Hatton, the incoming co-director for Columbus City Center here. So some quick chapter updates here. For anyone that might not be aware, the Ohio Kentucky chapter has an Enrich program, and this is a financial fund to support educational and professional growth opportunities exclusively for our members. So those applications are now open, and they will remain open until September 15th. There's a QR code for that there. And part of that Enrich program, if you are accepted into the program after the application, is to give a give back of your learning experience that you were able to contribute from. So coming up here on August 22nd, we have a give back presented by Rita Amanet, and it is a career management primer, learn, earn, and return. And that will be a virtual event hosted there, and you can scan the QR code at the bottom as well to sign up for that. And those are our updates there. So I'll kick it over to Hunter.
Hi, everyone. Hunter Miller here. I'm the And this is super exciting for us. We're having our very first NeoCon Afterglow event tomorrow here, and it'll be at WSA's office. Around 3 p.m. is the start off, and it'll go until 6 p.m. We have some really great vendors coming to that event. We'd love for you to attend and be there. And then just to also let you know, save the date, upcoming in October. You all know it, you all love it. Zero Landfill is back. So stay tuned for those dates. It's or that those put those dates on your calendar. So from here on, I'm going to kick it over back to Bonnie and Rain to talk a little bit more about CETA. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Hunter and Tyler. We wanted to take a moment to thank our chapter benefactors. We could not do these events without them. So special thanks to Tarkett and Thentic, Binford, Interface, LBI Boyd, Pat Craft, Shaw, and HDA. Truly, thank you very much. And then also a special shout out to all of our A&D firms who contribute as well. Bonnie, you're muted.
Thank you. We have received a lot of sponsorships towards the event so far as well, but we do have some sponsorships still open. So if you would like to consider supporting CETA this year, there is a QR code. You can also go to the link that's listed there on the slide and kind of check out which opportunities are still open. And then now we're going to kind of dive into some of the details. So the submission categories, we have two in the Learn category, one for higher education institutes, and then another for K through 12 institutes. And then we have our work category, which would be any corporate or workplace projects, our live category, which would be multifamily housing, senior living, residential. Then we have our engage category, which would be public, civic, performing arts, or places of worship. And then we have our heal category, which would include healthcare and assisted living. And then last but not least, we have our play category, which would be any of our hospitality, restaurants, retail projects.
We also have two.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
We also have two additional categories, creative install, which aims to recognize manufacturers and the crucial role that they play in our industry. We really want this to be an opportunity to highlight a unique application of the product in a single space. It could be small scale, large scale, exhibit, custom pieces, millwork, branding, strategies, really anything. So we just welcome the creativity and excited to see what's out there. There's also the student project. Oh, real quick on the creative install, they do have to be, whoever's submitting has to be an industry member, IIDA member. And then the student project is for a student IDEA member who has good standing with the Columbus City Center. And this can be any work from their entire educational career. It does not have to be a senior thesis, junior thesis, or anything. It can be anything within their education. So definitely excited to see what comes from those. And then we have our Outstanding Member of the Year award. So this we want to recognize and honor IIDA members who have made a significant contribution to this organization in the past 2 years. And this is up to the public to decide. So we really encourage you to nominate people that you see fit for the role. So yeah, think of your friends who really deserve something like this.
And then we will also have a People's Choice Award. So this award is voted on by the public, which will happen after the submissions close. The voting will be done through a platform called Judgify, and it will allow one vote per email address. And we can share more details about that as we get closer to the close of submissions. But make sure to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or sign up for the emails, and then that way you can catch those notifications.
A quick note about the submissions and how to submit. So if you go to the IIDA Design Awards website, there'll be 3 different submission types, the kind that we just discussed. So the professional submissions, the creative install, and the student. There is no limit to the quantity of submissions, so please submit as many designs as you want to. There's also a video. It's a how-to video on the link. It has outdated dates. So when you're watching it, it's all very accurate to the submission process, but please keep in mind that the dates on there are outdated. So keep that in mind.
And then some key dates to run through as we get to November. So today, obviously, we have our launch party, and this is when our submissions and call for entries will open. And then also the member nominations will open today as well. And then Wednesday, September 24th, so a little over a month, that is when the entry period will close for submissions for both projects and member nominations. Monday, October 20th is when we will be opening up event ticket sales for the Design Awards. And then Thursday, November 20th is when our Columbus Interior Design Awards will be. And then obviously we would love to finally announce and introduce you to our jurors. So our lead juror is David Usher. He is the Vice President and Studio Design Director at Corgan in Houston, Texas. David is also on the 2025 ASID National Board of Directors. And then our second juror, we have Kristen Perrin. She is the owner and design director at Perrin Projects, also in Houston, Texas. And then we also have Nisha Bonner, who is an associate partner and director of healthcare interiors at Kirksey Architecture in Houston, Texas. So I am going to kick it off to them. We will start with David, and they each have a presentation that they will run through, and then we will kind of open it up for Q&A. So David.
All right, thank you very much. So as said, I'm currently the National Board Chair for ASID. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary, so that's exciting. I've spent most of my career in Houston as an interior designer, but seeing a slide here in a minute, I do have some ties to Columbus, so I'm so pleased to be part of this. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Austin, Texas. I went to the University of Texas where I studied engineering and then interior design before I found my way to professional life. I was in the marching band, which is where I met my wife, and two of our children were in the band. So you're seeing there us in our alumni band uniform with our youngest there in the full uniform. I have four children, two of which were born in Columbus, Ohio. The older two, and the younger two were born here in Houston. That's the whole crew there on the right-hand side. So I did have, I went to graduate school at Ohio State for a master's in architecture, and I worked about a year before I started graduate school and a year after. Spent a year at NVBJ and then a year at Lincoln Street Studio, which is a small kind of boutique firm. And while I was there, we worked on the renovation of Page Hall there on the Ohio State campus. So again, I'm so pleased to be revisiting Columbus as part of this jury. So a little bit about my background. I got interested in this very young. My dad actually designed the first 2 or 3 houses that our family lived in. And my mom liked to tell the story that I asked her to draw me a picture of a house. And when she started doing it, I said, "It's okay, Mom, I'll do it." So I was a tough critic right from the beginning. So what inspires me, I draw a lot of inspiration from being out in nature, and not just the sights of what you see, but the kind of the sounds, of the textures. What does it smell like to be in a particular place? What is the kind of the full sensory experience? So just some other examples of that, just looking at things from kind of the macro to the micro scale out in nature. There's so much to learn from and to look at ways that color and texture come together, as well as just kind of the majesty of what nature has to offer. You see the sequoias in California there on the right-hand side with my my wife there down at the base of the tree. They're unbelievably huge. Let's go on to the next. Yeah, and just some more images there. I also take a lot of inspiration from travel, both the architecture you see in different places as well as the food. This is from some markets in Israel, where I visited a couple of years ago while my oldest daughter was doing some service work overseas. And so just learning about different places through travel, through food, through experiencing those different cultures, it's such a wonderful way to kind of broaden your horizons and find inspiration elsewhere. So a lot of my professional work has been renovations in interiors work. This is a renovation of what had been called Two Shell Plaza, and we really transformed both in the materials that we use. So it's really about materials and texture and lighting, and all about the details, looking at ways that things come together. So I love the how things come together and how materials interact with one another. So I really pay attention to the details of things. Also done some work for kind of public work. This is a City of Houston library, and you're seeing some of the kind of kids areas as well as other areas there. Very focused on going from a very dark 70s area to kind of very light filled and bright and cheerful. Also, some other work for kids. This is a daycare center on a corporate campus. It was really fun to do. Great way to play with color and scale. Thinking about if we focus on the people in the space, focusing on little people is a whole different kind of exercise. And then, but a lot of the work has been corporate. So this is a small company here in Houston, and a space we did for them called TXAT. So this was back a few years ago. So kind of wood and stone and metals, and some lovely details there. And just some more shots of that project. So I know we've got a lot to get through, so I'll try to go through these quickly. I've also done some work internationally. So this is a Abu Dhabi National Oil Company in the UAE. This was done about 15 years ago, but a really wonderfully challenging project in a different part of the world. And it's, again, a really enriching experience. Also done a lot of work domestically. This is a kind of a cafe that's part of a co-working space in an adaptive reuse project in Louisville, Kentucky. This is for a company called Logic. You can kind of see some of the exposed beams and structure there. They had, it was for the Moose Lodge, was the owner and developer. And so there was a kind of a running theme of camp and being outdoors, and that applied to all the shared spaces and the co-working spaces, and kind of the mantra of do a little good every day. So it was a way for the Moose Lodge to provide for working families. There was a workspace as well as drop-in daycare and a full-service restaurant, which I wish that was available when my kids were little, but it's a really cool concept. I'm proud to be part of it. And just a shot of the restaurant and bar. A lot of renovations. This is for a building called affectionately called Five Pop in Houston. It's for 5 Post Oak Park, and so it went from a very heavy kind of 80s era postmodern kind of vibe into something much different, with wood and light, and trying to make a space very new and hospitality oriented, even in a corporate setting. Just some other shots of that, looking back at the Sky Bridge. And some outdoor work too. So creating new spaces for people to be outdoors. We saw a lot of demand for that after the pandemic, when people wanted to be outside more often. So again, very hospitality oriented in a corporate setting. And then this one, an adaptive reuse project for Common Desk at the old Houston Post building, which is the historic Barbara Jordan Post Office. And Common Desk took about 40,000 square feet there, and we did work with them both to do an adaptive reuse of the building, and it also had to work with historic preservation constraints. So it was a really fascinating project for a great client. And seeing some of the details of the new and the old come together. Some more co-working projects that we've had experience with. This is in Nairobi, Kenya, for a company called Workable, and we're looking at doing another project for them. This was done about 7 years ago, and they've come back to us to look at doing some more work for them there in that market. And again, kind of that mix of hospitality and workspace, very common in co-working environments. Yet another co-working environment, you can kind of see that hospitality flavor again, where it does kind of shared spaces at a variety of scales with texture and color, trying to make an office environment something that's a little more inviting and getting people out of their homes. And then a bit larger kind of corporate setting for JP Morgan Chase in downtown Houston. This project we did during the pandemic, while we were most of doing this from home, working remotely for the first few months. But this is a fantastic project for a great client, really challenging us on doing great design and creative workspace. Just some more shots of those areas where they had kind of portable little rooms within a room and all kinds of different ways of working. It was a really great experience with them. Being able to cut stairs into the building was challenging for many reasons, and but it really turned out to be a wonderful way to organize space and gather people together. as a recent project for a private bank in Dallas that the owner of the bank is an avid art collector. So a really wonderful combination of for housing his collection and giving reason for him to buy more art and invest in more things. So really wonderful client. We've done several locations for around the state. And it said it's all about the details. This is a shot from a detail in the court in Houston office where we've got a this kind of you'll see a larger photo here in a second of this bench that traverses 130 feet down the window wall and provides seating and as well as a display shelf, and then comes back to seating, intersects that glass in a seamless way. And this is a wonderful collaboration with a local fabricator. And part of the Corgan branding is the agility sequence. And so you can see, you'll see on our website and other things, these pixels kind of flying around. So this is a kind of a close-up view of that, of looking at this reclaimed wood being inserted into a fiberglass grid. And then kind of the backing out, seeing what that looks like in the space. It's kind of a screen between the cafe space and the reception desk. And that's it for me.
Beautiful, David. It's so wonderful to see your work. Thank you for having me, everyone. I'm excited to introduce myself. My name is Kristen Perrin, and I am the owner of a firm here in Houston called Perrin Projects. I am a Houston girl. I graduated high school in Houston and went to college at Texas Christian University, and immediately came back to Houston, and I started my career in residential design. I worked for a residential designer for a few years and got my license under her, and really that kind of sparked my desire to eventually become an entrepreneur. I wanted to include a few pictures of my family because they're very important to me. I have two young daughters. Eloise is 7 and Alice is 4. And my husband, Drew, who's shown in a couple of these pictures, he's actually joined our firm. We started doing furniture procurement a few years ago, and that portion of our business has grown quite a lot. So he now works with us in a project management role for the furniture procurement side. I've also included a few pictures of my team. We have a 7-person studio, and we're very close and tight-knit. One of the things that we really love to do is we have a great holiday party every year, and we have a gift exchange, but it becomes very cutthroat and people steal from each other. Everybody takes a lot of pride in bringing like the best possible gift they can, and everybody looks forward to it, and it's become a great tradition for us. So that's the little Polaroid pictures on the bottom right-hand corner. We always bring a Polaroid and take photos, and we're holding them all in a safe space, and we go back and look at them, and it brings us a lot of joy. In terms of inspiration, one place that I go to is reading and listening to audiobooks. I usually have a stack on my nightstand that's 2 or 3 books high, and I'm constantly listening to books in the car. When I'm traveling between meetings, I find it a really nice way to sort of focus and regenerate energy and regroup. And I've really found over the years, I have this major draw towards memoirs and books about entrepreneurs. So people who started their own business or did things their own way. So this is just a smattering of some of my favorite recent reads. Another thing that we do as a team every year at our Christmas party, I give everyone a book, and we have a little Perrin Projects book club. And so we'll read that book and then talk about it over the year. It's really informal, but the Unreasonable Hospitality book is a highly recommended book. If you haven't read it, I recommend you do so. Another thing that I like to do for inspiration is listen to podcasts. So in between the books and the audios, I'm always trying to catch up on like the rewatch episodes after White Lotus and The Gilded Age, if any of y'all are following those shows. They have companion podcasts that go with them that really dive into all of the behind the scenes of the designs and the costumes and the writers speak, and I find it to be so fascinating. And I always have a few of these going because they come out on different days. So I'm usually listening to them as I get ready in the morning before work. I'm also very inspired by other residential designers. So getting my start in residential has really informed the way our practice has shaped up. You'll see in our projects in a little bit, we love color and energy, but really we're trying to achieve a sense of warmth and comfort and a little feeling of home. You know, not all of our clients want us to lean into like blue lacquered paint in corporate environments, but we like to take a lot of cues and details from residential design. I also find a lot of inspiration in fashion and art. So, you know, we'll see things on the runway, and then a season later, you know, those same colors are popping up in everyone's textiles. So I really think interior design and architecture follow fashion a lot. We also love art procurement, and that's something unique that our studio does on certain projects. We can source and procure art as well, and you'll see that in some of our subsequent work. Okay, now getting into the work stuff. I'm going to speak quickly like David because I think I have too many slides. But this project is an amenity space we designed for a building in downtown Houston. It was a 70-story building, but they had this funny little space on the second floor that was kind of pie-shaped, and they historically had a really hard time leasing it. So we came on to design an amenity space for all of the tenants in the building, and the client guided us by saying, like, let's create a speakeasy with a totally different vibe, dark and moody. They host a lot of cocktail parties here, and clients use it as like an after party space when they have training events. This is a historical renovation project that we did, and historical renovation projects are a little uncommon in Houston. Most people tear buildings down here. It's kind of a shame, but this was a 100-year-old building that was once home to a printing shop, and then it was the Children's Museum and Stages Theater. The developer of the project bought the building and revitalized it, and we helped them with the interiors. It became a mixed-use project with micro office suites. This is a corporate interiors job that we did recently for a client who moved from downtown out to the suburbs of Houston. And it was a huge change for them. Their previous break room was internally facing. It was dark, dingy. It was so sad. They had no natural light. So when we moved them into their new space, one of their highest priorities was creating a large break room where everyone could come together. And you don't see it in the frame, but they had like a nano wall door system that opened up to a balcony, and they use it a lot for entertaining and meetings inside the office too. This is a residential project we recently did. It was a renovation of a 1940s era home. Our firm does a little bit of residential projects. We usually do 1 or 2 a year. We get a lot of requests for this type of work, but we'll usually say yes to 1 or maybe 2, depending on, you know, usually the client is an existing client or a friend or family member. This is a project we did for an investment group, and we completed it pretty recently. It's a great example of a job where we did furniture, rugs, accessories, art procurement, all of those pieces in addition to the interior design. This one also had sort of a hidden private bathroom for the CEO, which was a lot of fun to design. Is a restaurant called Mazraf's that we designed in 2020, so the heart of COVID. It was very challenging. This project, it was going into a brand new building that was coming out of the ground. everything was running behind. We were having crazy issues like everybody did with metal studs and insulation and you name it. But the project came together to a beautiful result. This is another amenity space that we designed in Dallas, and this was the same client that we did the Founders Club for. So I think you'll see similarities. It's sort of a darker, moodier vibe. It's off of the lobby, and it used to be a bank space. So very petite, like 1,200 square feet, but we really wanted to maximize the space and give the tenants in the building a place where they could gather, have coffee, or even do meetings or informal presentations. This next one is a golf simulator project, and we've done 5 of 6 of these over the last couple years. They seem to be more and more popular. We partnered with a general contractor that we do a lot of projects with, and they leased a funky little space in their building, and they use this to entertain clients and give their employees a space to break away. It was a lot of fun. This project was champagne taste on a beer budget for sure. So that was a fun challenge. This is a retail project we completed for Therapy Hair Studio. It's a hair salon. Ironically, my hairdresser came to me and said, "Hey, I bought this dog of a building. Can you help us make it something great?" So we turned, really the building was rough, but we turned it into a very light-filled open space, and they're having a blast in it. This next project was a corporate client space. Again, I included it in the deck just to share our love and appreciation for integrating art into our projects. It's a family-owned business, and so the father and the son had distinct opinions about what to incorporate into the space. So it was a nice marriage of 2 people of different generations with different ideas. This is a building renovation that we recently completed in a 1980s era building. The client really wanted it to have a hospitality feel. And so we worked towards creating a vibe that felt much more like a boutique hotel versus an office building. So they made a lot of special touches, like a really impressive coffee service that they provide for all the tenants. We did a specially curated art collection for them, custom rugs. We did a lot of custom furniture too, and it turned out to be a beautiful space. This is a corporate space we did for a large energy client. It's the renewable energy arm for another company that has very specific and prescriptive standards in terms of graphics and branding and space utilization. So this one was a lot of fun because we had to work within those parameters, but they also gave us a little bit of freedom to play with color and make some changes while still staying within their kind of strict guidelines. This project was for a family office for actually a Budweiser distributor. And our 2 clients had really different perspectives. One was quite traditional and loved Monticello and Thomas Jefferson, and his counterpart was very contemporary. And so they wanted us to design a space that would marry those 2 aesthetics, but also be a great backdrop for their rotating Texas art collection. We're getting towards the end of the pictures. This last one is a client that we worked with 10 years ago, and then they renewed their lease and came back to us for a refresh, and they expanded into their space. So it was really fun to have a repeat client come back and work with us again. Such a high compliment. This last photo is a project we did for a wealth management client. We delivered this one during COVID as well, so it came with all of the challenges that I know y'all are familiar with. But this turned into a really great collaboration, and this client took us to build out their space in Austin, and then they took us to San Francisco to do their space there. So as a young firm, this was a really exciting opportunity for us to do projects in other markets. And I think that's it. I think that's the last slide. Thank you.
Those were such lovely presentations from you guys. So fun fact, David and Kristen and I all know each other in real life and have for a very long time. So it's been a real treat to kind of get to spend some time with them as we've been working toward this awards presentation. So you can start flipping through there on my slides. There we go. So I just, starting with who I am. The previous slide has my name. I'm a registered interior designer. In CIDQ and IIDA, that all alludes to being a registered interior designer. I'm a CHID as well, which is the Certified Healthcare Interior Designer, and then I'm lead AP. So now if you go to the next slide, I'm working on adding CDF to my little collection of letters there as well. So if you go to the next slide, CDF is the Certified Design Futurist Program. It's brand new from IIDA. I might have heard of it. I managed to get a spot in the first cohort, and I have been taking classes with Mark Bryan. He's the futurist in residence for IIDA, and he's teaching us to examine the 11 sources of macro change in the world, and then pair that with trend data, and then postulate on what could happen in the future. So it's been an interesting journey so far. It's a completely new way of thinking. I'm working on a thesis right now for a specific topic that I have to do to complete the program, and hopefully that will be in roughly end of September. All right, and then I have been at Kirksey Architecture for 9 years. I am the Director of Healthcare Interiors. I've been doing healthcare for over 25 years, and that encompasses human patients, of course, but it also encompasses four-footed patients as well. So I have just 2 projects to share with you today. If you'll go to the next one, there you go. So this is, you can start flipping through the pictures here. I'm going to kind of tell you the design story quickly. This is Harris County Veterinary Health, or for short, just Harris County Pets. And here in town, that is the county animal shelter. It also has a surgery center. And they just really wanted this space to be fun. So the design concept is that when you walk in the front doors, you're still outside. And so that's why the reception desk looks like a house with a picket fence. We've got the ceiling spray painted sky blue. We've got the fluffy clouds. And if you go to the next slide, you walk through to where the animals are, and you can see that pergola in the background there. That's you're in the backyard now. The pergola is symbolizes the back patio, and it also serves as the information desk as well. So you can see the big red dog houses. So those are the entrances to all the kennels. This floor plate was huge. So we really worked hard to try to help people wind their way through here. You can go to the next slide, with use of colored accent paint and fun window films and things like that. So I learned a lot on this project. It was big fun. When you go adopt an animal, I've never adopted an animal from a shelter before, but they have these things called get acquainted rooms. So you can grab an animal from their cage and take them into this glass fronted room and just kind of hang out with them for a little bit. And on account of having such a huge floor plate, they had several of these get acquainted rooms spread throughout the plan. So I named each one of them. This one's Wag. We also had Wolf. We also had Bark, and then the colors changed, of course, as you went through for wayfinding. Flip to the next slide. So for the cat side, now when you have a combination cat and dog shelter, the cats are the least adoptable animals. So we place them up front, and then they've got these glass fronted cages. So you actually have to pass them to get to the dogs. It's a little bit like the milk in the grocery store. The milk's all the way at the back. So the puppy dogs are all the way at the back, the baby puppies. So you literally have to walk past all the cats and all the dogs to get to the puppies. But Yeah, so you go in there, that is the get acquainted room for the cats. So we did purr and pounce and play for those get acquainted rooms. And then the next slide is just an open play area for the cats. This is glass fronted as well, so everyone can kind of see the cats at play. I just had the most fantastic time with the graphics on this project, and that's a custom wall covering that you can see there. And then the next slide as well. I loved that sort of pictographic motif. And you've got the bubbles and the person giving their dog a bath. And the final destination in the space is this dedicated cat and dedicated dog space where you complete your homework, your paperwork. This is the cat side, and you take your new best friend home. So this project was completed right as COVID hit, which I cannot believe has been 5 years ago now. That's just hard to wrap my brain around that, but it's still one of my absolute favorite projects because they let us have such fun, and it doesn't hurt that we won a design award for it as well. So the next project, Legacy Community Health. So Legacy is a health system here in Houston. You can go ahead and start rolling through the pictures if you like. That's a health system here in Houston that serves the underserved in terms of healthcare. So their corporate branding colors are bright orange, bright teal, and bright yellow, and they absolutely love it when we just splash those colors around. So if you look at the carpet there, it looks a little bit like a patchwork, and that's intentional. That's meant to symbolize a quilt and the patchwork of people that make up the neighborhood, which in this case is Houston's 5th Ward. So downstairs they have general family medicine, and then upstairs you saw the staircase that leads up to the dental suite. This is an exam room corridor. And then the final picture is the exterior. And what's really fun about this is we engaged a local Houston artist, Reginald Adams, to help us out with this. And he got the community involved. So those black mosaic tiles that you see that make up the handprints are actual smaller handprints. They got the community together, outlined hands, and then he translated that into tiles. So those are all individual little handprints. This project won a design award as well, which we're very proud of, and we've since done 3 more projects with Legacy, so they're just absolutely fabulous client. So project work aside, I am a member of IIDA, as probably most of us on the call are, and have been for over 20 years. Most recently, I have become active in AMFP, which is the Association of Medical Facility Professionals. And then about 7 years ago, I helped to launch the Texas Women in Healthcare chapter, and I'm currently serving on the board as the communications chair. And then I also serve on the TAID committee, that's a Texas Association of Interior Designers. I work on their art sale every year. It's an art-based event that raises funds for our political action committee. So basically it's our protection in Austin whenever new legislation is introduced that might affect interiors. Okay, so there's my stack of books and tea, and I'm like Kristen, I'm a voracious reader. I love it. I read business books, I read fiction books. I have a hard copy book going or a Kindle book going at all times. I also have an audio book going in my car. I have an audio book for my son and myself to listen to on the way to school. And then we have a family audio book going all the time. And then I am absolutely a closet Lego nerd, and this is ChatGPT's version of what I would look like as a Lego minifig. So it's so deeply satisfying to snap together little plastic bricks. I had underestimated that. If you go to the next slide, this is the very first build that started it all. I was absolutely hooked after this. The next one is the boutique hotel. The next one is Assembly Square, and as you might imagine, the architectural builds are my favorites. The next one is, that was a gift from my husband for Valentine's Day. And then the final one is the haunted house. So gotta pull that one out of the attic here pretty soon and display it again. And then travel. We love to travel as a family. We'll go to the next slide. There we go. And we generally cruise, which is a great way to kind of see the world. Our son is 11 years old, and so mom and dad are still cool enough to travel with right now. So we're taking advantage of that. This is us in Croatia last year, and that is a castle where they filmed a lot of the Game of Thrones scenes. And then this is Venice. That's Jamaica. That's Aruba. And then I think the last one is, yeah, that's Hawaii. So we love, love, love to travel. And then just for me personally, I am a crafter at heart. I love, love, love to make things with my hands. If you'll go to the next slide, I like to make edible things, lots of baked goods and things like that. I like to make wearable things. This is a necklace I made for my sister. The next one is just ridiculously cute food that serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever except to make me laugh. The next slide, oh, that's another necklace I made. And then the next one is I went on vacation with some good friends of ours recently. I have a Cricut machine. I'm not afraid to use it. And this is some cups and pool floats that I made for all of us. And that is a Halloween shirt that I made for myself, which I also do need to pull out again soon. And then the final slide is, I really love watching those cookie decorating videos on Instagram. So I tried my hand at it for Valentine's Day this past year. So that's me.
Thank you so much to all of you. That was a really amazing projects and crafts and Legos. I love Legos too. So thank you so much for letting us into your lives a little bit. I have a question. We got a really good understanding, I think, of what you're passionate about and your design style. But if you could each quickly talk about or give any insight you have to people submitting some designs on what you're looking for when selecting a project.
I can go first. I think one thing that's really important is that the design concept is really clear and faithfully executed. So the materials you're submitting for that should communicate your big idea and kind of how all that holds together. That's something that I definitely look for when judging the quality of a design.
I would say too, the execution of the details, like one of your slides, David, had, it was the floor at your office, and it was just where some of the things came together in some of your other detail pictures, because they say it and it's true, the details, or is it the devil's in the details? So I sometimes, when I photograph my projects, I have really like macro shots like that.
Yeah.
So.
I would say for me, it doesn't matter. Like if you're in the category of large corporate, it's not about how big it is. If it's the biggest corporate, it's about how well it's done. I'm not so interested in like how many square feet it is. I just want to see a project that I think is really thoughtfully executed, regardless of the size and the parameters around that.
Right. Agreed.
Awesome. Thank you both for that insight. I think that's really helpful. And I also want to echo Rain. Thank you all so much for your time today, being on the launch party, and again, sharing, some projects you've done and some of your background, and also the time that you're committing to being on the jury and reviewing and assessing the submissions. So thank you all. We will open it up to anybody else who is on the call. If you have any questions for any of the jurors, please feel free to ask them. All right. So we will wrap up. So again, our save the date is November 20th. That is when we will host our 2025 Columbus Interior Design Awards. The event will start at 5:30, and it will go till 9:30. And we will have a tour available as well. We are going to host it at the Upper Arlington Bob Crane Community Center. And then I'm going to let Rain kind of jump in and talk about the venue for a minute.
Yeah, so this is a brand new facility in Upper Arlington. We're really excited to host here. It's a state-of-the-art home, or state-of-the-art home of fitness and sports. It has gathering spaces, special programming. I believe we're on the 5th floor, so we'll have a wonderful view during the event. And we're really excited. It was designed by MSA, and it's brand new and it's going to be lovely. So thank you so much to the jury. Also want to give a special thank you to the jury selection team for finding you three and bringing this all together and making this happen. So we really look forward to everyone submitting their projects and seeing what's out there. And we look forward to the event. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
If
everyone.
anybody has any other questions or are having trouble with submissions, feel free to reach out to us. The events email is iidacbusevents@gmail.com. We'd be happy to assist you. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.